Okay, there we go. Hey, Mish, welcome in. Let's see if I can get their fate added. Hey, Christy, thank you for
Again?
the
Another month with
39
this
months.
dude? I'm kidding. I love you all.
Can't. So, 1 second, guys. So I cannot add that in yet, unfortunately. That just sucks. Oh, I guess. Anyways, so today we're gonna do something a little bit different. Obviously, um, I've got a PS3 World Tour uh, controller that I'm going to be converting into a wired controller for things like um, oh, thank you, Mish. But yeah, for like Fortnite Festival, Clone Hero, that sort of thing. So figured I'd show you guys. It's really stupidly simple. I had to adjust something real quick though. That like down into this bottom corner, I guess. It's my instructions for how to do the install on this. We'll just move it over there. But all right, Christy, no problem, and thank you. But yeah, Mish, let me pull up the app real quick for it on that clock. I can actually set it to different. Firmware update. To do a firmware update. Anyways, so this is a kit from Retro Mods. They sell a non-soldering kit. So I picked the controller up on the Goodwill website for I think $30. Um, I've already done one of these. It was a PS2 wireless controller that I did. This one's a PS3, which the problem with the PS2 controller, it doesn't have a D-pad. So the PS3 controller I'm doing does have a D-pad, which will help. This thing to reconnect. Let's see which one of these I want. You can actually do custom also. Screw it. That's good enough, I guess. But, anyways, when are we ranking for festival? I mean, I'm not that good, but the PS2 one kind of freaks out for festival. So you have to like go select everything with your keyboard and mouse and then try to use the controller just in the game, which gets a little clunky. So this non-solder kit, I don't remember how much it was, but they're actually really easy to install. a couple different parts in the box. Like this is for your strum bar. This right here is the one for your neck. You've got a 10-foot USB-C to USB-A cable that will run out of the battery thing in the back here. It comes with clear 3D printed buttons for the neck because, I mean, it comes with RGB and stuff. In here is going to be some spacers, a couple of replacement screws, and two little capacitors that are used for setting your tilt sensitivity. So that's almost the entire kit right there. Then you get a couple of wires that are just basically like super easy plug in, a couple of snap in wires. So like this is the whole kit basically. And then you've got these connectors for these wires. They just like lock them in place. So if you don't know how to solder, you know, you literally unlock that, plug these in, lock these down, and it's as good a connection as a solder connection. So that's the whole kit. And I like their kits. They're actually really nice. The first one I did went together really pretty easily for the most part. And I can't help but say I'm kind of a fan of their logo. So I may end up, sticking that on the guitar at some point. So yeah, that's the plan for today is to do this mod real quick. Um, Gotta move a few things around the desk. Gonna leave the instructions down in that bottom corner so you guys can kind of, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but you know, you guys can kind of see as I go through it. I think honestly the hardest part of doing these mods on these controllers is taking them apart more than anything. Um, it can be a little tricky, like with the this is the back of the buttons for the neck, and you won't be able to take the neck off of the body anymore by doing this mod. But I mean, it's not a huge issue. So yeah, it's the camera's a little stuttery. Yeah, I don't know if that's an issue on Meld itself because that's what I'm using. I'm not using OBS. I just really like Meld. Um, oh, that reminds me. We're going to. There we go. Might have to adjust the volume. Get some chill music to relax while we do this. You're not gonna fall asleep. I'll yell at you. Don't worry. So let's start out by you gotta tear the body apart. So move a few things out of the way here. Move the faceplate latch to the unlock position. Not sure how well I'm gonna be able to get this on camera, but kind of worried about breaking or cracking it. So I'm trying to be kind of careful, but I'm trying to also like get it to pop off. I have not done a PS3 one like this before. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's just little clips that hold it in. So my screwdriver kind of around it, and there we go. Find where the clips are. There we go. Faceplate's now attached. All right, so I'm gonna set this off to the side for a minute. Once we've got that done, we've got a bunch of screws. We need to take size screws do we need? Front of the body is a T10. So these four here are going to be Phillips screwdrivers, I guess. Ties this real quick to get these screws out of here. I do have also a magnetic mat that's supposed to help screws in place. So see if that helps. Some of these don't always want to cooperate, so there we go. That's better. Trying to make it to where you guys can at least kind of see what I'm doing. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend this weekend. Around the edge, they really do go by super quick, way quicker than I want. My weekend's been all right, Mish. What did we do yesterday? I'm trying to remember. We went out and got a nice dinner. I think that's really all we did yesterday. Went out, got dinner, got some groceries. Yeah, we did play some zombie mode Fortnite with Tyler and Caleb. Yeah, I think that's really all we did was played some games and got groceries and dinner. Yeah, kind of just hung out. So it was pretty nice. It's all the main body screws except for the four by the top of the neck. I had to change bits. Phillips Phillips number 0. Magnetize that one real quick as well. These little electric mini screwdrivers, sometimes you have to give it like that initial turn to break it loose. You don't strip it out. That one's way smaller too. I have to remember these are the ones that go up by the neck. A lot of little screws in this stuff. If you guys decide you want a different type of music, let me know and I can change it on Spotify. Everything off the top, neck. So I'm gonna set this down for a second. Grab the neck. Back to the. Luckily, the neck and body, but screws are the same, other than the ones that go in the pocket of the neck. So unless you have original Colleen and Michael songs, it's okay. No, no, we do not. But it is funny that you said something about a guitar controller not being an actual guitar inside, Mitch, because I have several actual guitars sitting right behind me.
I don't write.
And I've actually considered doing learn song streams, where I try to learn a song and not completely butcher it on guitar. I would just have to figure out how to get my guitar software to show up in OBS. I'm thinking I might actually be able to make meld work a little easier with that, because OBS does have some issues from a single PC with doing uh, recording software and streaming at the same time. I didn't know that until I actually tried it one day. Working on my house in Palia. It's pink and purple. That is very cool, Christy. At some point, I will have to pop into one of your streams and check it out. I just haven't been around much recently on Twitch. Oh, did I miss one? Yeah, I missed one up here. Okay. All the neck and body screws right there. And pull the neck apart. To I'm gonna have to pop this board out. So let me go ahead and undo this one screw. There is a replacement in the kit in case this one's messed up or stripped or anything like that. So there, we got the neck apart. Not sure the if this will be usable anymore. The slide thing, because the kit does not come with replacement parts for that, and I don't know. Like this socket board here, I don't believe is reconnected because we have to run wires to the body itself. So yeah, that may be a thing. Pull these buttons out and toss them. New buttons are right here. Oh yeah, I forgot there was an update for Palia. Yeah, they make these really nice 3D printed um, transparent buttons for the necks on all their kits, and there's software you can customize. Like the lighting on them. Like you can set them to be the same as the as what the buttons actually would be, like the green, red, yellow, or you can set them to like a single color, that sort of thing. But yeah, these buttons are actually really nicely made. So, all right. The next step looks like it's going back to the body. So get the neck stuff out of the way for a minute. Making it's here. That's oh, I did miss a screw. All right, so I don't know how well you can see what that says right there, but don't try this at home, kids. This is the warranty void if removed sticker. That I mean, this thing's so old it doesn't really matter. I bought it secondhand. You know what I mean? So none of that really matters. Yeah, let's avoid some warranties, people. I have a second camera for her. It's another Elgato face cam, just like this one. I think I have an extra arm over there already set up for it too. We just have to like hook it up to her computer. Yeah, and let her find the energy to actually do the stream. Another screw right here. Should be all the screws, so it should just come apart now. Obviously, the instructions are saying, don't force it. If it feels like it's caught, that means you probably missed a screw. So there we go. We have it apart now. That's the back of it, which the only thing I really need to do to the back of it is pop this off, because that's where we're going to feed the wire through more than likely. Might be another spot I can run it through, but if not, we'll just run it through the back with the battery thing. We're going to be taking out the battery connector more than likely. I know it says to cut the wire off the battery connector. Go ahead and cut the wire off the battery connector. Right there. We're not going to end up using, well, no, I guess we're already going to be using this. The battery wire we don't need to worry about, because it's not going to be running on batteries. Now the D-pad and all these other little switches and stuff, saying to cut them joint for the neck. I'm not going to touch that yet. Here's the strum. I need to zoom this picture in. D-pad one down here. We need to cut these as close to the main board as we can. The start select and all that. This is actually the main board station system to recognize. This is going to be replaced along with the strum by everything that's on the back of the new strum. Whammy bar stuff right here. Got that. I need to leave this stuff attached for now. Phillips, getting ready to remove these two main boards plus this right here. It looks like. Let that go. Not to lose these little bitty bits. So it says a slightly different revision on the mother or on the different boards, maybe. Layout's slightly different on the. This one must be newer than, unless they're showing pictures on an Xbox one, maybe. The Xbox and PlayStation ones are basically the same. Cut that out. It's going to be 4 screws. 2 middle screws. They're holding springs for the drum bar, so I may have to undo that. I don't know. I'll find out in a minute, I guess. Yo, what's up, James? Welcome in, man. Happy Sunday. How we doing, man? Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I know you spent plenty of time with Adolfo Disco and doing the whole wedding thing on Saturday. Thank you for getting that shout out. Yeah, we doing the tech things today, man. We're modding a Guitar Hero controller so we can use it for like Fortnite Festival and a couple other games. Bought a kit to modify it, go from wireless for PlayStation 3 to a wired PC connection. Next on this. Everyone needed 1 day recovery. I feel that, dude. That was a big ass event. All right, so that's it for this for right this second to get that out of the way. It should just slide out. There we go. So this is all the old components right here. Look at this switch setup for the strum bar. Okay, we're strumming up and down. It's just like a little spring loaded. In the new one here, actual like keyboard switches. It's a very different setup. Set the body aside for a second so I do the neck. Yeah, yeah. I am definitely a tinkering person. I like taking shit apart. Love love doing that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, give me 1 second, guys. Alright, so I'm gonna show you all the first one of these I modded. This one's from a PlayStation 2. It's a wireless PS2 controller. Um, yeah, and it's kind of the same. Got the same buttons. This one was a lot simpler. There's a select and start button down here at the bottom, but there's no like D-pad on this thing at all. So I ended up running the wire on this one. There was a little panel back here, and I just ran the cable out the back like that. So, but this one took me about a half hour to put together. It really wasn't bad. Oh, James, dude, you got no idea, bro.
Oh, he a super duper nerd.
You should see. I don't have my soldering iron and all that stuff right now. I need to buy another soldering iron, but I'm into like soldering shit together, doing all that kind of stuff. Like I taught myself how to solder um back in the what 2018, 2019, right around there when Radio Shack was going out of business. Dude, I bought the shit out of all their little kits to like make your own little electronic buzzers and all that kind of shit and taught myself how to solder with them little kits and shit when Radio Shack was going out of business. I probably dropped $200 when shit was like, oh, it's $1.50 for a kit or $2. I bought so much of that shit to just like teach myself. Yeah, I like Colleen just said, I literally bought thousands of dollars worth of shit from Radio Shack, and I dropped probably like $100 to try and teach myself how to solder and like do all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, um, I'm really into playing with electronics on a whole different level than most people. I just don't always have the energy to do it. So, I've had this kit sitting around for this particular guitar to modify for, I don't know, 2, 3 months. And I just didn't have the energy to bring myself to do it. So it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it today because I really wasn't sure what else I wanted to stream. Yeah. So I guess we're just gonna leave this strip alone, and I'm just gonna have to cut the wires off this because we're not gonna be using. I'll cut it as close to the main board as I can. That way, if later on it says, "Oh, you can use that," then you know what I mean. I can. But yeah, these are how the buttons get used on the stock board. They're just there's no actual buttons. It's just the little rubber piece with some connections. These old boards, we don't need them no more. They're going in that file 13 spot right there. Neck looks like it's pretty well ready to be done. This will end up going in here. Take that with the buttons in it. Oh, so I have actual physical buttons instead of like touchpad type setup on it, which is a nice little upgrade. Again, I did the other one. Let me show you all the the buttons on this are actually not real loud, but you can kind of hear them. They're actual like mechanical keyboard switches, so they feel a lot better. They're red, so they're pretty quiet. There's a little click to it from the 3D printed buttons, but that's about it. So now it's telling me see, replacing strum board spacers. The springs. Move the stock springs from the strum bar and the stock spacers from the standoffs. I get these little spacers out of here. This one's a little more detailed as to the shit you got to do to it than the PS2 one was. Blow this up a little bit so we can see it better. It looks like there's any spacers left on this thing. So thing probably got a lot of love because that spacer was just gone. It probably wore the fuck out and disintegrated. Let's get these 3D printed parts out real quick. These little guys here. Put them on there like that. If I still had my soldering iron, I would have probably bought the kit where you actually solder the parts yourself. Because to me, that's a little more fun. But no longer have a soldering iron. I spent an extra, I think it was like a $20 difference. You tossed it, bro. Yeah, how much money you could have made on eBay selling that motherfucker, even without modding it. But if you had the time and the money invested in modding it, you could sell a modded one on eBay for like a couple $100 easy. Got that done. Sitting in it this way. No avoid hoarding. Yeah, I get that. So it's a little looser on the strum bar than it was with the springs, but not terribly loose. So should be good with that. So good with that. Optional but recommended. Small modifications to the neck shell to make the routing of the new wires easier. Yeah, yeah, it's easy to become a collector of some shit, ain't it? All right, so it's saying to put a cut into that. Okay, so we're gonna cut that down. Move this out the way. Snips. Put this down some. Might be one of them situations where it's easier using my Dremel, but I really don't want to go get my Dremel. So plastic off where it's cut shorter. And again, the instructions say this is optional, but it's supposed to make it a lot easier to route your wire from the neck to the body. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah, my cut doesn't look great, but you know, it's good enough. Yeah, it don't have to be perfect, but should be good. Okay, that's the other side of the neck. It's the only thing I'm not a big fan of with the instructions that they got is they do a lot of bouncing back and forth between the neck and the body. I get you want to do the prep to all of it. I personally prefer to just, you know, do one and then the other. Okay, so we're notching this. I got it. So we're gonna run. I may have to go slightly different than the way the instructions are showing the notches because I think they're using an Xbox model and not a PlayStation model. Basically, I just need to have a place to run the wire through the neck. So that should work. Yeah, I tend to hyper focus quite a bit on hobbies. Once we get these wires ready to go in the neck, I've got that cut out so we can pairing wires for the strum board. Those connectors. Hey, what up, Wizzy? Welcome in, man. Happy Sunday. Oh, shit, I just realized a bunch of screws over here. I was fucking with my mouse. So we got the neck prep done. Pull this body back up here. Not exactly the easiest, that whammy bar on this thing. So we're gonna be throwing connector cables. Pretty small, but yeah, these just kind of snap in. Kind of hard to tell sometimes if they're snapped all the way in or not. Got three of them we got to put in. Let's see. You usually you can feel them click into place. We are modding a Guitar Hero controller to go from wireless to for PlayStation 3 to wired for a PC. So that way we can play like Fortnite Festival, Clone Hero, all that kind of stuff. I did a PlayStation 2 one before, and it was pretty easy, but unfortunately, there's no D-pad on it, so it gets a little wonky trying to set it all up. Got those connected. Gotta, we got to strip all these at the ends for the. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna need the optical port for anything. Yeah, we don't need that for anything. Actually, hold up. Stroke of brilliance. Since we don't need this for anything, it's just the other connection that used to go to the PlayStation 3. I'm gonna pull this board out too. We'll take that and run our cord out of there. Yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, it's not for everybody. I'm one of them motherfuckers, like I said. I like to play with and tinker and, just mess with stuff, see how it works, see if I'm smart enough to put it back together after I tear it all apart. I was that kid, I'd always get in trouble. Oh, why'd you tear the phone apart? That was me when I was, 5, 6 years old, tearing apart the phone that was hanging on the wall in the house. Eventually, I'd figure out how to put it back together, but you know that was the kid I was back in the day. A lot of little wires to strip here. all these different connections that go to the new main board. We don't have the main board screwed down yet just because gotta make all these little connections and everything. So I'm gonna separate these wires out a little bit better, the ribbon wires, because it can be kind of a pain. D-pad. How the fuck? How is that supposed to all connect to the? I don't think that's gonna be long enough. Shit. These are supposed to be reaching over on this. Those wires ain't long enough, and I cut them as short as I possibly could. Oh shit, that ain't good. We'll figure it out though. I'm confident in that much. But yeah, get these separated out now. They're easier to kind of manage and you know make sure that everything's connected where it's supposed to be and all that fun stuff. Luckily, all this on these main boards actually is labeled. I don't know how well you can see it, but like each wire is labeled right here, right next to where my thumb is. So it'll tell you, oh, that's the ground wire or that's the positive, you know what I mean? So it's pretty straightforward with that.
It tells you that?
Yeah. Here, let me see the little ribbon cable, right?
Yeah.
They're labeled like GND is ground. Yeah, really the only problem I'm running into right now is my D-pad. The wires aren't long enough to reach this board. I don't think the start button wires are going to be long enough either. So I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I see now. In this next picture, we're connecting these to one of these blocks. I'm showing these off at the beginning of the stream. These little locking blocks. This side's locked down. This side's unlocked. You put your stripped wire into the hole here, lock it down, and that'll connect it where the other wires go. So looking at these instructions over here, down here in the corner, you're using one of these with these wires on one side and one of these on the other side. So this will go into there like that, locked down. That side's connected, and these will plug into the board itself. This side will connect to like the start button. You know what I'm saying? So these will go in here, and then you plug them in like that. I think I might have one of these left over from my last build. It looks like there's only two of these connected, but they don't have the D-pad connected at all. And I know there's got to be a connection on here for that D-pad somewhere. So, babe, you got reading glasses? I'm gonna have to.
Not in here.
Can you grab me a pair real quick, please? Because this also is all labeled out. It's just real small writing, like behind all these connectors here. It'll tell you what each one is. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're connecting the D-pad up at all. And I'm gonna see if I can't connect the D-pad somewhere on here. Okay, so there's the tilt sensor, how to calibrate it, all that fun stuff. Then you put it all back together. So yeah, this one won't, for some reason, they don't use that sucks. They don't use the D-pad on this one either. So I'll probably just go following the instructions on this for right now. And then later on, if I can get another one of these blocks, which you can buy them online with electronic stores just about anywhere, I'll probably end up having to grab another one of the blocks, a couple of these extension cables like that, and see if I can't.
The island too.
All right, so what I'm seeing on this board here, scroll these instructions back down a little bit. Look at the pictures. Well, they're using this one down here. They're not using these ones up here. This set of four right here, I'm gonna need another set of these wires and another one of these connectors. But I'm looking at it. I don't know if you guys will be able to read it, but this first block up here next to the one black one, if you look at that, it's a little better. It's kind of blurry, but this one right here is it's labeled joystick, and it's got your x-axis, your y-axis, and ground and all that. I just need to extend my wires for the D-pad to this block here. So that may be an upgrade I do later on this thing, because that was the whole reason I was wanting to do this one, was for the D-pad, but I didn't know that wasn't included in the kit. So I just need some longer wire. Like I said, I could use one of these, or I could at some point, once I get a soldering iron, solder a longer wire to the board for the D-pad and do that. So we'll just finish the kit for today. So where are we at? Be up here like that. These wires are going to be going through to neck, like so. Long cable real quick. Gotta figure out how to. We're gonna run the USB-C cable like that. The 10-foot cable. So obviously I don't want it to disconnect in the guitar. So I just gotta find a way to like run it out of the body. And I'm gonna use where that optical plug was that I pulled out. So I'm just gonna like run it under the battery tray so it's up out of the way. It's not gonna get pulled and disconnected by accident or anything. That was the hardest part on the last one, was finding a way to secure this USB-C so it didn't accidentally pop out, you know? We'll run it like that. I hope you put this on YouTube. Remind me and I will fucking download the VOD to send it over onto YouTube. Because I do love doing shit like this. I just don't spend a lot of money on it like I used to. So yeah, dude, shoot me a text later or something, remind me, and I will definitely throw this up on YouTube. Where's I at with this? Oh yeah, yeah. So strip a couple wires real quick. So whammy bar goes to that one there. This screws to tighten this down are just tiny as fuck. So see if I can hold it like that. Swap that out. Bit real quick because these are some tiny ass flatheads. I'll show you how small the flathead is. Tightening all this down. Hey, Nightfall, thank you so much
Wowie.
for 14 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, this is the flathead. Look how tiny that motherfucker is. That thing is just so tiny. That's the size screws we're dealing with right now. I'm not even going to use the electric part on this when I tighten these down. The glasses back on because I can barely freaking see this shit. See if I can't. No. Try to get this a little closer for y'all to see better. Hopefully that looks a little better for y'all. These these are freaking tiny, man. They're really small. Try and do them one at a time because, like I said, these motherfuckers are tiny. They're hard to see. Camera up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. I'm not going to be able to just leave it sitting on the body like that. You know what? Let me just. See if that makes it any easier. Hard being left-handed and doing this shit sometimes too. So that's why. I gotcha. These were closed all the way. I gotta open them up and then slide it in. Sorry, the view probably ain't that great on this part, guys, but I can't really do much about that just because of how small of the stuff we're working with is. That was good and tight. Undo the next part of the block.
Oh, Jim's sitting there left-handed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually I'm kind of ambidextrous. You know what I mean? Like um, there is certain stuff I'll do right-handed, but like writing, using a screwdriver, like what I'm doing right now, all that stuff left-handed. It's really funny. Nah, I do a mouse right-handed. I play guitar right-handed. I throw right-handed, but I write left-handed, and like I'm better at using a screwdriver left-handed, that kind of thing. So it's kind of wild, you know. Being left-handed, growing up in a right-handed world, you learn how to do a lot of shit right-handed. There's still like certain stuff you'll prefer with your left hand. Like when I eat, I use a fork left-handed. So if I sit on the wrong side of the booth, I'm bumping elbows with motherfuckers when I'm eating every time. Like I have to sit like on the left side when we sit down. Otherwise, I'm bumping my elbow against yours every time I take a fucking bite. And I know it's kind of stupid, but most people don't think about that, you know? Can't tell if this last one was tight enough. Let's see. So I got that connected. The other one connects to this one right here. So we'll go ahead and prep this one. Now, gotta loosen these up again. They're fucking tiny. It's so hard to see some of these. It's bad if I'm having to wear like reading glasses to see some of this shit because I don't normally have to wear any kind of glasses. The shit's just so damn small that you kind of you need that magnification. You know what I mean? She kind of digging these hair seller tunes. I don't normally do like lo-fi and stuff, but I'm kind of liking this playlist. see. So we got that connected up. The board's ready to go. Let me get some of these screws out of the way. These are all screws that hold the main board in place. So throw this in place there. Need to find something to set this on where this whammy bar is not like knocking it around. Sit down. Think while I'm thinking about it. Grab my Phillips real quick. Swap that back in. I'm gonna just go ahead and screw this board down. I ain't gotta keep fighting with it. There we go. I at least got this thing not trying to pop out every time I move. It's a whole lot better doing it that way. So I'm looking at this board. And you remember that slider piece on the neck I was talking about earlier? This part right here. Obviously, these wires are not long enough, but there's a plug right here named slider that we can hook those wires to. We just have to extend the wires. So, like I said, for now, I'm just following the kit instructions. Apparently, what I'm looking at right now is a little more advanced than the non-solder kit. So I'm thinking the kit where you have to actually solder probably uses for the joystick and for that. So not that hard for me to desolder those, run some wire to this connector up here, so the slider on the neck will work. Same thing with the D-pad that connects over here. So again, it's the stuff's on the board in order to use everything like it's factory. Hey, what's up, B? Welcome in. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a great weekend, man. So yeah, that may be another stream in the future. Us going ahead and upgrading a couple parts on this thing to, add the slider board function, add the D-pad function, all that kind of stuff. But for now, we're just gonna um, be doing the real basic stuff that I'm working on right now in the non-solder kit. Like the whammy. This is the side one. Okay. Yeah. Whammy's right here. Okay. So unlock these, get those wires stripped, get them connected. I may use some electrical tape because I don't have a hot glue gun here right now to place these. Basically, they're just going to run in here. I just got to strip the ends on them, which shit, this only goes up to a 20 gauge. These are 22 gauge wires, so I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, I'll just have to do it that way. That worked. Just them up real good. We're talking about some really fine wires, just so y'all know. The slider didn't exist until World Tour. This is a World Tour model controller. Like all the old Guitar Hero controllers, like the PlayStation 2 one I did, they don't have that function. But from my understanding, the slider, it's up here, like further on the neck from the buttons. But it's basically like a thing you can slide on like this. The, the camera. But that's basically what the function of it is instead of sliding up the buttons, it's smoother going across it. So you don't get resistance. It makes it a little easier to. All right, so which colors where? Red's on this end. So PlayStation models ST to start on 0 board. Okay, that's for these over here. So we're looking at the whammy bar right now. Center wire to ADC, which is the center. Okay. And then the other two don't matter. Got it. So luckily they have it figured out as to what wire goes to what already, which is super helpful. So these things, one didn't. These wires are so damn thin, hard to clip them down in it. Yeah, we got a good bite on that one. Lock down. So middle wire to middle wire is really the only one that matters. So I'll strip the middle wire. There we go. It's kind of hard to see what I was doing, but so we'll get this stuffed in there to that middle. Lock it down. That's good and solid. Now we'll strip this last one. Like I said, these wires are tiny as fuck. They're 22 gauge wires, so mini ass wires. Which is the only part of this that makes it tricky. Even with soldering, because they're such small wires. When you're soldering, you have to be careful because you get that soldering iron too hot, you can actually burn a section of the wire off. Whammy bar is connected. Got my electrical tape so I can move some of this stuff out of the way temporarily till it's time to do the upgrade later on. Which, like I said, I'm gonna have to get my soldering iron, which a new soldering iron ain't that expensive. I just got to go get one at some point. Tape a couple things out of the way real quick. Take the wires for the D-pad. Get them out of the way. Way they don't get damaged later on. We're all good with all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm wanting to say these modded controllers. I know unmodded ones on eBay are going for, like, if they're in decent shape. An unmodded controller is going for 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks for these old Guitar Hero controllers, unmodded. The mod kit, I think, was, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was like 60 bucks for the mod kit. I paid 30 bucks, so I've got like 80 or 90 bucks into this. You could probably sell one pre-modded like this for 100, 150 bucks. I would not do the solderless and try to sell it though, honestly. This one goes to, oh wait, this one goes here. I didn't need to tape that one down. Oops. I'd have a ST is start. One wire that won't be used. Wait, I think they might have the instructions backwards looking at this now. So I've got two that I have to twist together. Because that says Xbox models, but I think that's backwards because my PlayStation controller has the 4 wires and not 3. So we got to twist two of them together. Get these 2 wires stripped. There we go. Thank you for putting me on the big TV, James. I appreciate you, bro. So we're going to tie these two together on one. Ground is going to be green wire off of my block. These are going to go into that one. Locked. I think I'm going to end up doing it like this. Maybe like that. Alright. ST is start. Going to be the middle, which is yellow. ST right here, so that one's going there. I know this part might take a little bit of finessing, just because it's kind of a tight fit. Oh, you motherfucker. Wire just ripped when I was trying to strip it. So it's kind of short now. I can make this work. If not, I may have to do some emergency surgery. I think I just got it. See if I can do this one without butchering it. I mean, stuff like that does happen when you're playing with electronics. You know, you go to strip a wire and accidentally cut it. Not good, but I mean, usually you can move past it without anything too serious. But sometimes you got to add some wire, which means either soldering another piece in or something like that. And we're trying to avoid all that since I ain't got a soldering iron. One didn't clip. Bastard. You know what? These are pretty easy to put back in. Let's hold these for a minute so I can get this part of the block done. Stuff in. Take it down. Damn it. Why am I having such a hard time with this one? Try not to pull these other wires off the board. Otherwise, we're in a real bad spot. There we go. This one's ground here. Okay. These stuff back in. Yellow is start, which is the middle. No, wait. Yeah, starts the middle. Okay. Lock that in. Select it in. Oh, that's better. I might not even need to really tape that down. That should hold pretty well right there, as is. So we got all that. D-pad wires for later. Get those stuck down. That should be good. Grab another piece of tape. I'll hold this USB cable down over here. While we're already working on this shit, we might as well make it look nice. You. That way, when we come back in later to do the upgrades, everything's all managed and nice and clean. That way, nothing gets in our way when we have to go mess with stuff later on. All that's good. So we got that part done. Now we got to do the neck. So we'll move this back out of the way. Go like that. Where's my buttons? These buttons dropped in real quick. And once I'm done putting this all back together, I'm gonna have to change scenes so I can let you guys see the actual how to like program it, get it all set up, and then we'll do a quick test, make sure it works properly and all that. Back to the Phillips head. Yep, that's what's in there. Okay. Don't even hold anything, but whatever. I will tape the letter bar down too while I'm at it. It's letter bar wires anyway. Whatever. Yes, Miss, exactly. Hot pink glitter paint all over the inside of it, just so it's nice and pretty when we open it back up later on. You know, gotta keep it looking nice. This part is a little bit harder to see for just a minute. So I'm gonna set this up here. We're gonna be running the wires from the body to the neck. Trying to figure out how to set this stuff here where I can see what I'm doing. You can see the wires being ran, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, W2 and W3. U1, this one right here, ran. U2, One right there. So W3. Little plastic piece I can use. I'm gonna use this little plastic piece that came in a kit. Help hold this down. Oh, okay, so it's all connected now. We just got to get creative. Wires shell back together. Hey V, welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I know you had a great Saturday. Hoping your Sunday is just as good. I think I can't tape these some of the slack out of these wires up out of the way somewhere. Like that. See if that works. I just realized I closed my fucking, or I didn't close it, but way the hell up at the top now. Let's get this done. So we'll have to install the tilt, which we can adjust later on. How to do all this adjusting and setting it all up here in a minute. Take these, stick them in this black connector here. These are your tilt sensors. They run 2 instead of 1, just so it doesn't freak out on you. Basically, you're just going to take them, bend them to about 90 degrees, like that. There- that should be fine. Programming and calibrating. Now I'm going to have to change screens for just a minute. Stick with me here for a minute. Make that bigger for y'all to see. That lid for a second, babe. No, you're fine. Got to move these screws for a minute because keep my mouth. Want to fucking lose a bunch of screws. Get the screws out of the way for a minute. I'm gonna grab this programming tool real quick. I've used this before, but I was on Windows 10, so I got to reinstall it. Tell me I just screwed that up. Second. There we go. In real quick. I heard it. iPico V3 adapter. All right. I did screw up by not leaving the instructions up on how to fucking program it though. So 1 second. Down to programming and calibrating. Got a V1. The V1.1. Type. Skit default 1.1. Sync configure. Now we just wait on it to do its thing. So it's at 80%. We're just kind of hanging out waiting on it. Once it gets this done, do some configuration, make sure everything's good, and then we'll screw it all back together and it should be ready to go. All right, it's all done with that. Whoops, I need to reopen that. I did not double check. Configure. Click on the arrow on the whammy section, expand and calibrate the whammy. Where does it say whammy? Whammy. For just a second so I can read. Touch, click next. Calibrate. Me is at 0 right now. Okay. Untouch, click next. All the way down. Next. Then push it just very slightly. Done. Whammy. Disable the D-pad. Right now we're doing that. So save settings. Still writing, so I gotta give it a minute. Once it's done with that, we can. Sorry, my camera's a little shaky at the moment, guys. When this is done, we'll test the LEDs, make sure they're good. Writing part does take a minute, unfortunately. Just a minute. But yeah, this programming part takes a little bit, but once it's done doing all that, um, everything's all configured. We'll button it up and then test it out. I do like that they have a button tester built in too. Um, we'll be right back while we're waiting on this to finish writing. If it doesn't finish writing, I'm gonna have to go reconfigure it in just a minute by ending the software, reopening it, and then just redoing the whammy. So, right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. So it seems like this thing may have frozen on writing. So let me redo that real quick. Screen. Oh, devices. Unplug and replug your controller. So like I said, sometimes you got to play with them to. There we go. Skit configure. So recalibrate the whammy. Maybe it's not being touched. Maybe all the way in. Save settings. Give it just a minute to do this. I mean, 0 all the way in. Try it that way just to see. Try this again. Just because it's still freaking out a little bit. Right, so now we need to done with that. Then you type in joy.cpl. Properties. Z rotation. I don't know why it has you do this. Strap to your fucking body yet. Dumb. Oops. Good. Okay. Got the tilt sensor all set. Now we can start putting this all back together. So we can close that out, close that out. Down some. Put all these screws back in. So we're going to start with the neck. That way we can grand. This is the tricky part, is getting these wires where you want them. Kind of a pain to line it up. So see if I can't get this to line up down at the back end first, because that's where we're having the hardest time with it. Small piece. Yes, Mish, it's technically it's working. I still have to actually like test it in a game. We're just basically screwing it back together. Everything else is all done. Um, I get these wires like tucked in where like up out of the way. That way I can get this neck snapped back together. That should fix the problem. That goes. The LED light's lighting up on this thing already. And Start throwing screws into this. Bit. One. We're gonna try to knock these screws out kind of quick and get to testing. Sorry if you guys can't really see the screws going in real well. Adjust where this is all at. Maybe that'll make it easier. Here. Yeah, Mish, check this out. They're all pre-programmed to what the default color would be for each note in the configuration. Like I said, this mod, unfortunately, you cannot remove the neck from the body like you could before. We're doing it because of the wiring, but I'm not too worried about that. That's all the screws we're going to be putting in the neck. The instructions say not to put a screw in on one of these down here because of the wiring and being able to feed the wires through. Um, Slide the body like that. Get the back panel real quick. Button up the back panel. Go too far with that. I got to put that stupid lock back. One second, guys. It's a matter of trying to line everything up. Get it to sit flush. back panel's on. Now let's get this front panel all screwed down. Screw. Yeah, this part should go fairly quick. We just gotta put all the screws back in it, and then we'll put the faceplate back on it. I think I may, just for the creativity side of things. Oh, there's one already in that one. Um, just for the sake of creativity, I may later on down the road take the faceplate and paint it so it looks a little different. Maybe even wrap it so it's got like a different design or something to it. Sometimes when you do too many screws on the front, you have to actually squeeze the back side of it, get a couple screws in nice and tight that way. Make sure that thing's nice and tight. Yeah, it's basically all done aside from getting these last couple screws into the body. And then that faceplate, like I said, just snaps on. That's all the screws. As far as the body screws go, that's all of those. Oh, nice, babe. That's it for that part of it. Snap this faceplate back on. You do have to slide the neck out just a tiny bit to get the faceplate back on properly. Go. So, sorry for the dirty background. If I forget, we will throw that back on. All that's done. My mouse pad back over. Resize screen real quick. Launch Yarg real quick, which is yet another rhythm game, just to do a quick test. I just want to make sure everything's working properly. We just got it buttoned back together. That all right. Practice. The practice. Just to see. It seems to be working. All right. Start and select seem to work, so we're good on that. All right, it's fucking working. Um, as far as really bad. As far as what songs they have, you can download a shit ton of different stuff. Ish. There's various websites. I've just downloaded a lot of the ones that are already on, like Guitar Hero and whatnot. But yeah, you can download it as long as there's a like a as long as there's a thing that's already been done for it. Let me pull up a quick browser. Uh, there's search engines for all sorts of different. Uh, this is all like verified charts and stuff of different music. Um, on this Google Doc, then there's let's do a Google search for Madonna, or do a search for Madonna on Chorus Encore. So yeah, there's two different tracks of Bitch I'm Madonna, expert difficulty. So it's got lyrics, force notes, tap notes, open notes. So there is stuff you can actually do. Yes, the You can actually find, like I said, Madonna. I mean, if you want, I don't know, let's say Eminem. There are Eminem tracks on here you can add to the game. You saw Madonna live in concert last year. Very cool. I'm sure that was a pretty awesome concert. But yeah, you can, whatever band you can think of, you can type into the search engine and then download it and import it into the game. Because I do have Yarg, which is yet another rhythm game. I like the interface of it a little bit better. But you can download different songs or packs. Um, these are all like official packs that they have. And then Clone Hero is another similar thing. Second to load, but Clone Hero is a similar setup where you can why it's not letting me practice. I've got a 5 fret practice. Yeah, I don't know why this one's acting the way it is, but whatever. This one doesn't always want to work properly, so there we go. There we go. Let's try. Like I said, I've got a lot of stuff of my own preference, but who have I seen or who would I like to see live? I've seen, dude, I've seen a lot of bands. Um, drunk mode? The fuck's drunk mode? See what this looks like. I've been to a shit ton of concerts over the years, D. I actually did get to see. Okay, yep. Expert mode's gonna fuck me up. So, anyways, um, Yeah, I've seen Audio Slave. I've seen System of a Down. I've seen. Oh yeah, I would have loved to have seen him again for sure before he passed. Unfortunately, didn't happen, but that would have been phenomenal to see him again. I've seen a lot of rock bands, metal bands, punk bands, stuff like that over the years. Um, been to a few country concerts. Never been to really like pop concerts for the most part that I can think of. Uh, I have been to a very large number of concerts over the years. I actually used to go to an all ages club on like Friday and Saturday nights when I was growing up in high school. That is usually like a $10 cover to get in. Sometimes it was sometimes it would be like 15 if they had a bigger name band. But I got to see bands like Radiohead, Foo Fighters. I've seen Nirvana. I've seen a ton of big names for like on the cheap at this little all ages, standing room only type club in high school. And it was really fun. Yeah, yeah, it was in San Diego. Um, but yeah, it was a very cool time getting to go do all that stuff. I think the best one I actually seen. Um, the best concert I ever seen was probably actually going to be Seven Dust, to be honest with you, and I seen them 2 or 3 times. Seether was actually really good in concert as well. I saw them with Audio Slave. It was a fantastic concert. Yeah, honestly, I would have to say it was probably Seven Dust who was the best in concert that I've seen. The the energy of the Seven Dust concert was fucking incredible. The drummer, oh, the people I had a beer with. Yeah, that was a band called Soil. That was at that same Seven Dust show that I was just talking about. After their set was over, um, because they were the opener. They had a couple big songs in like the early 2000s. Nothing crazy, but they were the opener. And during Soil's set, I was standing back by the mixing board because this was at a actual like play theater type thing. Like so the mixing board was in the middle of the room, like they had like an actual um, place where the mixing board and all that stuff was done in the middle of the room. I was standing back there by the mixing board, and LaJohn and God, what's his name? The drummer. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Anyways, the drummer from Seven Dust came over, hung out, chit chatted with them for a minute, and then once Soil's set list was done, they came off stage, hung out, chit chatted with me over by the mixing board while Seven Dust was on stage and they were playing, and the singer of Soil bought me a beer. So I thought that was actually a lot of fun. Very cool night. That whole concert was phenomenal. The famous person I met in the guitar store. So there was a little hole in the wall mom and pop guitar shop in my hometown where I grew up. I can't remember his name, but he was the guitar player from Stone Temple Pilots, Dean DeLeo. I I was at the guitar store because a friend of mine was going for his guitar lesson for the day, and I'm just hanging out waiting on him to get done with his guitar lesson. So I'm like, just hanging out, looking at the guitars that are hanging on the wall and stuff, and just kind of checking stuff out. Next thing I know, this guy comes walking in, talking to the owner. He's like, "You got anything weird, like some like vintage '60s stuff that just looks different. So the owner's all pointing at this guitar, yeah, the guitar, pulling him down, letting him check him out. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, I know this guy. I know this guy. I don't know where from. I can't place it. I know this guy. My buddy's guitar lessons get done. He comes out from like the little back room where they do the guitar lessons, and he's wearing a Stone Temple Pilot shirt. And he looks up and sees Dean, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's where I know him from." And the guy's like, "Oh, I like your shirt." Talking to my buddy, and my friend's just kind of standing there flabbergasted. And I'm like, "Man, it took me a second to place who you were, but I really, I'm a really big fan of your music and stuff." He shook our hands, and that was pretty much it. But it was fucking cool, man. You don't, you're in a random guitar store waiting on somebody to get their fucking guitar lesson for the day, and you meet, you know, random big name fucking musician. But apparently, that little hole in the wall guitar shop, I can't remember what it was called now, but there were several big name musicians that would pop in there because they had a lot of like vintage, harder to find old guitars and stuff. So it was actually really cool. So, anyways, what then? What'd you say? Oh yeah. I at one point in time was in school with Blink 182. Well, two of the three current members. The original drummer was not Travis Barker, but did meet him too at one point in time. He seemed like kind of an asshole, but that was years ago, long before the airplane thing and all that. So yeah, freshman year they were they were seniors and on their way out and just start to like get traction locally as a big name. Let's see. Growing up out in San Diego, there was a lot of big names from the area locally that you would see them around town and stuff just randomly. Like I know a lot of you guys aren't into like punk rock or anything, but there's a punk band by the name of Bad Religion. They're a very like they've been around for fucking ever and ever and ever. They are from the San Diego area, and you see a couple of those band members from Bad Religion around town every now and then too. Um, I've seen I don't know how many might remember this show, but there was a show back in the day on USA TV called Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas. Yes, um, I met him. He's kind of a dick, but I met him. I had cut school one day and they were filming. Um, I was cutting class or whatever, and just walking around town checking stuff out, like killing time, just because I didn't want to go to school that day. No, they were in the middle of filming. Um, Branscombe, Richmond, at one point in time dated a friend of mine's mom while I was in high school. He was actually really cool. Um, I met him once or twice, so yeah. But yeah, that's all the cool, fun, goody stuff, that growing up out in San Diego, saw all kinds of neat shit. Well, anyways, it's just about that time, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate you all hanging out. And like I said, this was all no solder. I'm gonna have to go back in the future once I get my soldering iron so I can connect uh, the D-pad and the slide bar up here. Once I do that, I'll probably do it again on stream. start burning some wires and showing you guys how to do the more advanced stuff for this. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I hope y'all have a fantastic week this week. Not sure if it's gonna. Oh, I put them both in one. Sorry about that. Let me get the. Thank you for that, Ben. Go ahead and get our raid going. I think I'm going to throw it over to another maker and crafting stream. So we'll throw it over to a buddy of mine by the name of Orbiter. We've visited him a few times, but he's another techie kind of guy. He's got the soldering iron out right now, so we'll throw it over to him, and I will see you all next time.